emotional learning I see as the way that you see yourself, as well as how you then internalize that and interact with the world.
SEL is the skills kids need to get through the hard times in life. So a lot of people like to call them it's the soft skills, but it's those soft skills that get us through the hard times.
Self-awareness is around how do I see myself, and that is both in recognizing what are my strengths, what do I bring to the table, as well as what are my areas of growth and where can I better myself. Maybe a kiddo is feeling like they're not as successful as they want to be, and they might say things like, oh, I stink at this, I don't want to try again. So a staff might approach that kid and say, hey, tell me a little bit more about that. And what would it look like if this were different for you? What would it actually look like that you were successful in this?
I think that's one of the best things about SEL and growth mindset is cultivating an atmosphere where we can make mistakes and learn from our mistakes, that it's not a failure, it's how we get better.
So self-management really is how do I assess my own emotional thermostat and how do I adjust it when it needs adjusting. And having youth really recognize when they're experiencing those heightened emotions. And then to provide some really concrete options of how they can manage that feeling. I think that the more intentional and the more obvious that we make it to youth that these things are happening and that the learning is occurring, the more embedded it becomes. We've had parents, come back to us in awe of like, my kid told me that they needed to go take a break for 10 minutes and calm down because they were really frustrated at home last night. And we're like, yes, that is awesome. It's exactly what we're looking for is taking the skill from Campfire and taking it to somewhere else and using it. Social awareness. I think if I were to give it another word, is really around the concept of empathy building of, what is my ability to put myself in somebody else's shoes and see the world from their perspective. That not everyone is like me or has the same values or thoughts that I do, and that is not a bad thing.
We have so many different kids and cultures in our district all in the same place, so you can't help but to face times when you may not get along with each other, or they have different points of view, or we don't understand their culture and their background, and so our kids are put into that. We have to intentionally get along, we have to teach those skills.
Relationship skills are the more concrete things, like literally how do I go up and introduce myself, or how do I invite somebody to play a game with me, or how do I say I'm sorry when I know that I messed up, and what's that conversation look like? Thinking about conflict as truly just a conversation. It's a problem-solving conversation that you're having with another person. Responsible decision making is really around that abstract thinking and assessment, like thinking about what are the pros and what are the cons and what hypothetically could happen. So it's really about that building capacity, building independence through making decisions for yourself.
Thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. How was our day?
I think the focus on social emotional learning is only going to become more important. Seeing youth who are overly reliant on video games and social media and are expressing less and less attachment or connection to those around them.
I think our intentionality with SEL is a result of our changing society. For example, when I was young, if kids were bullied, they were bullied at school or at the bus, and usually not at home. Now kids are bullied in their back pocket. They're connected to their friends through the internet, through the phone, and it's constant, and it's not always nice.
Some of our youth, they're experiencing shifts in home life. We have families who are enduring really challenging situations like homelessness, different types of illnesses. We have youth who are in state custody through the Office of Children's Services.
I think some of our kids are afraid they're not going to eat over the weekend. They may not know where they're living. They don't know how it's going to be when they get home with mom and dad, and I don't think it's a section of our town. I think it's all over. The problems just look different. The stresses are different. I think it's a must for us. It may not always be on top of everybody's list, but I think it's a must. You know, our young ones think they will change the world. You ask them and they can change things, and they need the skills to be able to do that. If you look at the Forbes 500 list of what companies want from their new employees, 6 out of the top 10 are SEL based, getting along with each other. How are you going to solve a conflict if it happens? They're looking for the skills, those soft skills that people like to call them, that really are going to help them get along with each other and do a better job at work.
I would say we know that this is working for our youth because they come back every day and they ask for more. They are looking to staff and to each other to have conversations about things that they're excited about. They seek out opportunities to problem solve with their peers. They show us through apologizing and moving on and showing excitement for their future. They're telling us that this is working for them, and that they want more.